Unisanis was created on November 14th, 2019. It was created by Mark Edward Fishbach, otherwise known as Markiplier, and Ethan Nestor, known at the time as Crank Gameplays. The idea for the channel was pretty simple. 1 year. They would make content for 1 year, every single day, a new form of content with no limitations on age restriction or copyright or anything. It was simply to just make content. No limits, no holding back. They could make whatever they wanted, and at the end, it would all be destroyed. Unisanis is Latin for 1 year, which is what the channel was. Each of them took on a different persona. Ethan Nestor was Unis, who wore all black, and he was hilarious. He was fun, and he played off of Markiplier very well. Markiplier, on the other hand, played Honest. He wore all white. They only wore these suits of all black and all white whenever a milestone was reached. The beauty of it, and the reason that it was so popular and so cool, was the design of everything. It was this black and white spiral, and this skull hourglass. And the most important thing was timer. When they started the channel, the timer read 365 days. It would say all the time that was left, down to the minute. It was ominous, and it was beautiful. At the end of every single video, they would allude to the fact that it was all going to end soon. You would then hear the clock ticking, over and over again. And the timer would pop up and say exactly how much time was left. Now, from a marketing point of view, this was all to sell merch and stuff because of the fear of missing out, because of FOMO, which was at its height back then. So the idea of creating a channel where it was a limited time channel made sense. But there is something deeper beyond the marketing. Unisanis was about death. The sign-off at the end was Memento Mori, which means remember death. Every single video on its own would be meaningless, just ridiculous content, just a fun little video. Most of the time they were completely nonsensical. I mean, the first one was them cooking with sex toys, and the last one was them cooking with sex toys again. But it was fun. It was interesting. There were so many crazy videos that when you say the name of the video, the title, it's meant to invoke a memory. All the titles were not clickbaity. They were incredibly descriptive. Every single time they did it, it was to build a memory in your mind. The idea was that when this channel is deleted, all that will exist is the memories and compilations that were made during the time. So any art, anything that was made by fans was supposed to be deleted, but some of it was meant to, if it was created during, it's allowed to stay. And there were so many compilations, and people still watch them. I still watch them every year. It was the perfect time for them to come out with this. It was right at the height of COVID. In the beginning, it was made in November of 2019. And after about halfway through, COVID went to its peak. It began, the nightmare of COVID. And so many people died, so many people were lost. And that mourning was mirrored by this show, by Unisanis, this channel that was going to die very soon and knew exactly when it was going to end. And not everybody believed that they were actually going to do it, but they did, and it was beautiful. On November 14th of 2020, I was there in the live stream I watched. For 12 hours, they reminisced about everything they'd ever done. You can actually still watch that broadcast. It's been re-uploaded and not deleted. But for 12 hours, they watched everything. They talked about everything that happened in the year since, and it was incredible. Missing the first 4 hours was frightening, but also exciting. I remember skimming through the first few hours, watching them, and then rushing through every time they got sort of a pause. Anytime they were just watching a video, I was like, oh, I gotta move to the next thing. And I would watch the Unisanis videos I hadn't watched on the side, because when it first came out, I watched the first few, and then I watched a few in the middle, and then I watched a ton at the end, because you get busy with your life, and you forget, and you lose track of time. And I managed to watch most of them by the end, but not all of them. And that's part of the beauty of it. You only remember what you remember. It all kind of fades away into just memory. Unisanis was beautiful as an expression of art, as a marketing thing, and just an entertaining channel. Some of the videos on that channel were so good that they didn't deserve to be deleted. You felt like you actually lost a piece of internet history when it was destroyed. The most interesting thing, though, is what happened after Unisanis. When you sat there and you watched the end, Mark, Ethan, and Mark's girlfriend Amy, when they each had their hand on the button and they clicked the button to delete the channel live, everything went black. It all went dark, and slowly the comments rolled in. Memento Mori, oh my god, they did it, it's over, it's gone. They're dead. I wrote Memento Mori, I remember. And as the chat shot by, the channel soon deleted itself. One video after another started vanishing. When you hit refresh, there would be less videos. And by the end, there was no channel. You couldn't find it. It was gone. A massive hole in the internet that was created for an entire year. Songs and lore. So much flirting between the two of them. At one point, both of them got naked and painted each other. Both literally and figuratively. They both did one where they painted each other, like making a painting of them, but then they also did one where they physically painted each other. They did so many insane things. They made a pea sauna? What the hell was that? There's a list of every single one of their videos. I still think my favorite one is Finding He Who, which is during the summer one. During the summer videos, they did a whole documentary called Finding He Who, where Markiplier is like Sasquatch. The Gungoozler, which is Ethan Nestor running around in a pool in the dark, and he's like a mermaid creature called the Gungoozler. There was a horror one where they did like a horror game with each other in this old cabin. The one where Mark was painted gold. The time Markiplier got so pissed when Ethan wasn't counting his workout numbers when they were competing that he punched a hole in the wall and broke his hand. A lot of shit happened. My favorite was the reptilian episode. They were just hanging out in their own houses because of COVID, and they were just talking about reptilians and the theory, and they were doing all these edits to make Mark look like a reptilian, and it was so unbelievably funny. I don't know why that's the one I remember. There were so many bigger ones, but that's the one I think of. I think of the time where they slid down the stairs on like a toboggan. There's so many memories that just come flying back when you think about it. The disclaimer song. Hey there, don't try this at home. Boo-doo-doo-doo. Hey there, don't try this at home. There's the bridge, don't try it. It's fucking stupid. The whole thing is ridiculous. The dance of Italy. Oh, it's the dance of Italy. Whoa, it's the dance of Italy. The time Ethan couldn't figure out what a skillet was. We just kept going, the griddle, for like 4 minutes straight. It was beautiful. Everything about that channel was beautiful, and those memories are treasured because they were limited and because you can only see them through a keyhole now. You might catch them on a compilation that someone has put up that probably shouldn't have, or that was up back then, and you can remember, but you can never truly experience it again. That impending doom of the doomed channel. I don't know if it could ever be recreated. People have talked about them doing Tunis Honest and doing a second one, but that will never happen. After Unis Honest, they kept the memory alive, and they did these anniversary videos. Every year, Mark and Ethan would make 2 separate videos at the same time, but they wouldn't be in each other's video. It would only be each of them by themselves. And they would revisit the coffin that they bought together on the channel, and they would pay their respects to their previous selves. The idea of this persona dying, of Unis and Honest being gone, it was heartbreaking, but also really beautiful. Incredibly beautiful, but also really heartbreaking. On the day when they deleted their channel, I was shocked. It took me almost a month of letting it stew, of really feeling what happened, before I decided, fuck it. There was a bit of advice Mark said at the end of Unis Honest. He said, if you want to make stuff, just make it. Just do it. And he's said this so many times before, but it felt stronger when he said it in Unis Honest, when he said it at the end, with that final message that this channel is meant to inspire and to show that anyone can make anything and destroy it if they need to, and that things can end. Death is inevitable and things can end. And that's beautiful. After I watched it, I was so inspired by that statement that January, about a month and a half later, I made my channel. I was working on it and making podcasts and videos, trying to figure out the style of what I wanted to make, and really just procrastinating. I made so many videos and I just threw them away. So many attempts. At a certain point, I just started calling the videos tribe number whatever. I think I got up to like 35. I don't know if I skipped numbers. There's no way I made 35 videos before I posted any. But one day I said, fuck it, because of Unis Honest, and I made a video called Just Do It, which was just me ranting, kind of like this. And from then on, I just started making more and more videos on this channel. And then I made another channel, and that channel got bigger. And then I started streaming, and I made 50 other channels, and then I cut back on those channels, and now I'm bringing back a bunch of them. And it's been 3 years since Unis Honest ended, and in a month, it'll be 3 years since I started doing YouTube. And I think that's beautiful. It's wonderful. I'm in shock, and it feels like it's been a day, but I've made hundreds of videos. I mean, if you count streams, I've made 1,000 at this point. But there's so much more to work on and so many more things to do. But after Unisonis, they each made their anniversary videos, where they would each sit down and talk about Unisonis and talk to each other, but you couldn't see the other half of the conversation. It was only one way, because they are now separated. They do not do videos together anymore. They've done a few, and they have felt kind of Unisonis-y, but they knew that they couldn't do it anymore. It was part of the deal. Markiplier went on to make a movie, and all these other things he's been working on, and Ethan Nestor slowly found himself. He was lost for a long time, but now I think he's found his footing, and he has a podcast, videos, but for a while, he was a little lost. I would be lost if I was making a video with a giant YouTuber every day, and suddenly I wasn't. Ethan has a tendency to be better when he's bouncing off of someone else, but when he started making content alone again, I'm sure that would have made him lose his mind. But recently, Lixian, Markiplier's editor, who edited a lot of the Unisonis videos and made the disclaimer song, he did an Unisonis video every year on the date that was about him trying to motivate himself to make more stuff in honor of them. And I always really loved those. And immediately afterward, you would see on Markiplier and Ethan's channel them doing their anniversary. But something interesting has been happening, and there's almost a narrative to these videos now. The first time, they feel bad. They talk about what they're gonna do. The second video, they're starting to lose interest almost. They talk about what might happen if they start to forget. Will they eventually stop doing these videos? And in the recent one, which was only 2 minutes long for each of them, they forgot. I don't know if it was on purpose or if they were just genuinely both busy and they missed the anniversary, but they each put flowers on the grave and said that they forgot while the grave was covered in grass. And that was beautiful. I know they just legitimately forgot because Mark's making a movie and had to probably get scheduled to meet up, but that is what happens. After something or someone dies, over time you forget and you move on and you don't visit as much as you're used to. And I think that's a natural progression for Unisonis. I do like that they still did it. It is interesting that it was kind of late. I'm excited to see what they do next year because they've kind of pledged to not forget. I wonder what the next Unisonis anniversary video will be. But we all still remember. Unisonis kind of lives on in everyone who was there. And there's this long-running joke that it was like a cult, because that was a bit that they kept running so that when it gets deleted, people will say, oh, it was a cult. But there was something about it that was so beautiful and singular that everyone kind of missed on. And also, completely unrelated, it was a little bit gay at times. Mark and Ethan were very shipped a lot, and they definitely fed into it and definitely got real close. I can remember a couple of moments, especially when he painted Mark gold, that one. I remember that video. But there was something nice about Unisonis. It was a beautiful piece of art, and it's gone now. And I hope that I can even, as being inspired by it, I hope that I can even get 0.1% of what they got. Get that high, get that far. They hit 1 million subscribers so quickly. The songs, the memories, the fan art, the green screen competition. God, it was beautiful. Unisonis was beautiful. Memento Mori. Remember death. I know this is a weird one, but I just thought I'd talk about it. Anyway, bye. Here's some other videos. If you want to check them out. Bye.